All right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. NorCal Sports Network. Warriors get a much needed win, Lou, and we welcome everybody in. A happier night. That would have been crushing had they lost that game, because that would have been a really hard one to swallow. But Ryan will join us shortly. Lou?
Yes, sir.
Looked like a little bit of a different team, more tenacious, more focused defensive team tonight. What was your takeaway, Lou?
Well, I thought they had a chance to actually blow in the second quarter. You know, when you make a team not score for 6 minutes and you're only +2, that's a problem. And, you know, I give Bozo a lot of grief, but without Bozo tonight, they wouldn't have won. He played a very good game. He contributed. Yeah. You know, him and Davis actually sort of kept the flow going until, of course, the master closer, unlike LeBron, took over at the
TJD. Just real quick, TJD tonight. I haven't seen him be that aggressive all season. Have you guys? He was.
No, he was key.
On Rudy.
Him and Bozo were.
Did you see him at the 3-point line? He does the fake out, then drives on Rudy. He looked great. He looked like he did last year at that. And where has this TJD been? Because with Pods, I think we all know, you know, his shot's been gone. So his confidence has really diminished. I know you've talked about that, Lou, and you noticed that too, Dan, and we all have. Whereas, but what, you know, with TJD, where's this been all year? He's gonna. It's this. You know, I'm just confused because this is how he was last season with his aggressiveness, dunking on, you know, big guys. But you know, so that was great to see. I think 100%, Lou.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, guys, this show forgot to mention our sponsor, Chapman Law Group. Let's get a shout out to Chapman Law Group. If you have any legal matters, make sure you give Chapman Law Group a call at 415-613-9483. They can help you out. If they can't, something they don't do, they will refer you to one of their trusted attorneys. So Chapman Law Group, give them a call, everybody. All right. Man, this game had it all tonight because, like you said, Lou, they could have blown them out in the second quarter, and they let them back into the game by simply, you know, shooting threes again instead of doing what they did in the first quarter, which was get to the rack. And, you know, you look at the ball game, Curry ended up with 31 points. This is his best game in weeks, I would say, right? It's been a while. And
appreciate that, G. Martinez.
TJD, 15 points, 9 rebounds. Steph, not only 31 points, but 10 assists. And looking at the box score just a little bit here, guys that kind of GP2 got a lot of pivotal minutes, and he did well. Kuminga, he was not bad in his time. He was a little rough on the field, but he drew some fouls and hit some key free throws in that fourth quarter when, you know, you needed to get, I think it was the fourth. I don't know. The third and fourth quarters kind of ran together for me, but yeah. So I don't know, but a big win overall.
Yeah, they definitely needed it. I mean, I'm getting a little disappointed in Wiggins and Kuminga. I mean, they were 6 for 22 combined. They were 3 for 9 from 3 points. And, you know, they're our main studs beside Curry. And they need to show up every night because this team isn't as deep as originally we thought. You know, and a few guys, I think tonight might have been a total team win, probably from the first 6 games of the season. We needed everyone to contribute or they wouldn't have won. And again, any win on the road in the NBA is a great win. But, you know, coming off a catastrophe of being blown out by 275, it was like an all-star game last game. Against Memphis, who I keep telling you guys is a sleeper. I mean, they won again tonight by 40. They're going to be they're wrecking because
Memphis
they're finally
looks
healthy.
good. Memphis looks good.
But it was a big bounce back win. I mean, the Warriors had to hear about it for 48 hours. It was like, oh, great, here we go again. But you know what? They came through, and that's all that matters. In the middle of the season, all is you went on the road and you went 1-1. It doesn't matter how much you win by. It doesn't matter how much you lose. That's all that matters.
Well, what's the next game? I haven't even looked at the schedule.
I believe.
Yeah, and I think real quick to talk a little bit more on this game. I think what was also, you mentioned Wiggins and Kuminga. I think Wiggins had a better game than Kuminga because Wiggins was playing some pretty hardcore, defense. Also Schroeder. I want to talk about Schroeder real quick. Last game, and I know he didn't score too much this game, but just having him there in the fourth quarter, I thought was a huge game changer for Steph. And you saw Steph decided this game he wanted, and I'm sure you noticed this too, Lou, he decided he wanted to play off ball. And he started, and that's kind of like in the Olympics where he was playing off ball. He was kind of, not every possession he was playing off ball, but he was doing the pick and roll with Schroeder. And it was great because it gives Steph the ability to play that shooting guard role, which honestly, sometimes that's really what Steph's best at, especially late in games. You don't really want him to take the ball. And that's why Draymond has been so valuable. But I like Schroeder spot more than Draymond late in games. I thought Schroeder was great. He was guarding Anthony Edwards full court. And yeah, Anthony Edwards hit some shots on him. But Anthony Edwards, I think, had less than 20 points today. And that was Schroeder and Wiggins playing hardcore 90 feet from the basket. Rudy was trying to, I don't know if you saw at the end, Rudy was trying to like face guard Schroeder, and Schroeder's like, yeah. And it's just like, and
Speaking of, let's get into this Draymond situation because Draymond was out tonight. He had a horrible game against Memphis.
0-0.
0-0, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a Tony Snell game. It was the first game since Tony Snell where it's like someone's played more than like 15 minutes and put up all zeros.
Oh my gosh, just nothing and just a blank. Now, Draymond, I think he's going to be fine because I think Schroeder is going to infuse some energy into this team. You saw at one point Schroeder talking to, I think it was GP2 and Pods. Might have been, I know one was Pods, but it was at a timeout, came off the court, and he was like getting them together and like, focus, whatever he was saying. But you could tell he was giving veteran speech to these young guys. And it was like, hey, look, Schroeder's probably behind Steph and Draymond. He's probably going to be the next leader on the team, the third guy. He'll take over because he's got that moxie. He's
alpha
got that
mentality.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And he
knows he's not the best player on the team. He's got the alpha mentality, but like as Draymond does, where they know they're not the best players, but they are still an alpha, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Philip, good to see you. Happy Saturday to you. Yes, a very good win for tonight, man. This was going to be I think,
Griffin, let's pull up Griffin's comment. We appreciate everyone in the chat right now. We're trying to build up the Warriors chat, but I think Griffin makes a good comment. He says, nothing about this team feels consistent or sustainable. This team needed this one bad, so we'll take it. What do you guys think about that? I know.
Yeah, and they got contributions from everybody, as Mark says. I think it was it will take it, as Griffin said. The team, I texted Ryan late, and I said, if they lose this game, he disagreed a little bit because he says as long as they're in it. But I felt if they lost a tough, close, clutch game, it would maybe really dampen their spirits because you could see tonight they were playing not to lose, but to win. They were playing to win. And with their defensive intensity and, I'm not a guy that likes to bag on the refs, but there was some calls or non-calls.
It was ridiculous.
That dunk by TJD when he just
Rudy
just all over his back, dude. That's I don't care if it's a dunk.
No, he slapped him and he was on his back. And then what was annoying about that call is then Rudy tries to go dunk on TJD to get him back, and TJD barely touches him.
Right, exactly.
It's too lopsided. I'm not.
Yeah, no, guys. Guys, I don't mean to be negative, but we've talked about this 3 of the last 4 games. The refs, the women refs are the worst. They are so inconsistent.
Yeah.
I hate to say it tonight. If you guys looked at all those calls tonight, it was the same ref. I wouldn't say
was
it
the
if
woman,
it was
no,
a
he's
guy
right,
or a
it
girl.
was
It
the
was the
woman.
same one. And what she does, she looks at you. She would look at the guys and like say, "Well, like you didn't
Which
see
one
it."
was that? Is that the?
It's the one with I know what he's talking about, and she goes like this every time she calls a foul.
She
puts her
was
hand up.
horrible tonight.
Well,
She
you're
can't
supposed to
catch
put your
up
hand
to the
up.
play.
She blows the whistle and she puts her hand up.
Well, that's what you're supposed
He's
to do.
horrible.
Your hand's supposed to go up as soon as you blow the whistle. I was a ref.
It's something about the NBA. I know, I have
like-
no problem with women refs, but when they don't know the game, they shouldn't be on the court. They have to be qualified.
Was she the one that Luca said? You've ever seen
Same
the little,
one.
the one that
Yeah,
Luca
same
says
one.
"I love you" or something like that?
It's
The one,
because they don't know the game. It's a lot different. When it's physical, you got to call it both ways. She was horrible.
Yeah.
The other thing I don't like is she makes such a bad call, it ruins the flow of the game. The NBA at times is hard to watch, especially the Warriors recently. But, the whole game was sort of a disaster. They couldn't figure out the netting. It took 35 minutes late, so you knew the game was bizarre.
awful.
Not only did they have to do it once, they had to redo it again. Then you get lousy refereeing. Then you get sort of a lob. That game, literally, we could have been on an hour ago if they would have started on time.
Yeah.
So it's just
we had it set up for
7:45. Yeah, it was just one of those things where and again, I don't mean to be
only
negative.
15 minutes late,
but every time I watch and there's a controversial call, it's one of these two women refs that either they can't get to the play, or the other thing what they do a lot is they call it before it happens because they assume, when somebody goes up, oh yeah, they're gonna hit him, and it's not good. It's not a good look for the NBA.
Yeah, you can't assume. You can't assume because I've done that at times as a referee. So worst thing you can do is anticipate.
Yeah,
when you anticipate, you are already and your whistle starts to blow and you just got to go with it. Otherwise, it's like
I like the people who do the late calls more, and a lot of I think most people do. It's like
call
if
it like if the shot
basket,
doesn't go in.
Then you call it. If it
and it's
what's it called? It's like if it affected the shot. That's how the good
exactly. And what's sort of funny is TNT can't say anything because obviously they work with the NBA so close. But
was
if
that
you
game
ever
on
watch
TNT tonight?
No, it was on.
Okay.
And by the way, these refs are ridiculous. Our announcers are the worst too. It's really bad. But if you watch TNT, they try to emphasize the problem, but they can't say anything because literally TNT and the NBA are sort of, whole. They'll always say, God, that one of these refs on the court has to be a little bit faster. Okay, well, he's not going to say it's the girl ref like Charles or Shaq, and they're going to say, I don't know why. Why is she assume these are the greatest athletes ever? It's not the WNBA. And that's what they'll say. So you know who he's talking about, but they won't say the women's ref. Hey, I'm on NorCal Sports. I can say whatever I want. Okay. But the refs are ruining the flow of the game. And right now it's something, the NBA is hard enough to watch at times. So let's just make it more enjoyable. Get people that actually know the game and don't call before it happens. And that's all I want to say. And that's all I'll say about the refereeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just nice though to see the Warriors actually get up big, lose the lead, and then get it back and keep it. Because
big gut check.
When Minnesota went up early in the fourth quarter, it was like they could have folded. They could have folded and, just, would have been a bad outcome. Mark Graves says all refs make assumption calls. You do at times, but you learn to bite that whistle. You literally, you learn if you're really experienced at officiating and you get good at it, you actually anticipate not calling fouls. You call the obvious foul. But when I first started as a ref, man, I was very calling everything because I just was calling too much. And then I learned, you know what? If it doesn't affect the play, don't call it. If unless it's so obvious, a guy trips a guy out in the middle of the court and, makes him stumble, even though he retains. But I think there are some better officials that I've seen in the game. But the one thing you just want an official to do is just be consistent both ways. Call the game consistent. Don't call it loose one way for the whole first 2-3 quarters, and then everything tightens up in the fourth quarter, or vice versa. Just, you know what? That's why I hate when refs start calling fouls early on in a game, and everything's a foul, and like you said, the flow of the game's ruined, and now you got to deal with all game long if they're going to be consistent. And they usually, you rarely see officials be consistent, but a good officiated game is when you're not talking at all about the refs.
Dan and Ryan, one of the things, you guys brought up about bringing Dennis is, forget about last game. That's a throwaway. Throw away the tape, burn it, boom. But tonight, only 10 turnovers on the road. A lot of times when we see the Warriors sort of blowing these late fourth quarter leads, we usually look 15, 18, 20, 24 turnovers in a game. And, the one thing about Dennis is he's a winner. I know maybe with New Jersey, he doesn't show, but that guy is here to win. He's thinking long term. He's thinking, okay, what can I do to make this team better and make Steph better? I mean, Steph, we all know, is, the best player on our team by far. But with him there, Ryan brought up a great point. It got to a point where Steph had to bring up the ball. He then had to go behind 3 or 4, maybe 5 screens, get the ball, make a shot even harder. And, he got to a point where, as Dan was saying, he's getting run down. He's getting tired. But with Dennis, I don't think there's a problem, and I'm hoping this is going to be a huge, huge turnaround, for the Warriors. And I believe, the key thing is if Dennis stays healthy and Curry stays healthy, and if we can maybe just pick up either another shooter or another big body, then I'm going to be worried about our wager, because getting Dennis was a huge step, but I think they need one more, because the West is going to be better and it's going to be tough all the way.
Mark makes a good point about the lady refs. They haven't been there long enough to judge the speed of the players, and are they trying to make a name for themselves? Exactly.
Let's pull up the box score, and then we can
got it right here
when we get out of here. Saturday
and
night.
One thing I wanted to say about another point I wanted to make about the game tonight. I was very impressed with Jonathan Kuminga going after McDaniel, a taller, athletic player, and Kuminga went right up against him and drew 2 fouls down the stretch. That's what you got to do if you want to play in this league and play on Steve Kerr's teams. And I love the fact that Kuminga did not, what's he given up? 3 inches to McDaniel?
Yeah.
And McDaniel can jump, and he is a veteran, McDaniel. And Kuminga,
best defender they have.
He got him to foul twice. And you know what? That might not have happened a year ago.
Yeah. So what about? Let's look at the points. I can only see the minutes.
Let me move it over here. Points. There we go.
Yeah. I think Schroeder didn't have that many points tonight, and I know it was only 9, but it felt his impact was a lot more than that. That's, I think, sometimes looking at the box score doesn't tell you everything, because even he was a -9, but I don't know. I think without Dennis in there tonight, I think Anthony Edwards. How many did Anthony score? I don't even think he scored 20.
Edwards got 19.
19. Yeah, I think probably at 30. Schroeder, and that's, I think Lou just mentioned, Schroeder's a winner. He really, when it came down at the end of the game, I'm sure you noticed, Dan, he was 90 feet guarding Anthony Edwards. And I think, how old's Dennis? He's like, he's what, 30, 31?
31, something like that.
Without Dennis tonight, if Dennis was on our team, we would have blown the game.
Yeah,
I can guarantee it.
Especially in the fourth. Didn't you see that, Lou? It was getting rough. And then Dennis just kind of started going really hard. And I liked how, like I said earlier, that he just started taking the ball up. He's like, oh, wait, I think he kind of saw that Curry was getting a little gassed. And then, boom, Curry goes on the floor. He scores like 13 points. And I think Schroeder knows because he's played against Steph so much. He kind of knows he probably knows from, being on the other side when Steph's kind of out of whack.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And Schroeder's a smart player, which people underrate how good he's been for Germany. I mean, he helped them win a World Cup, which is, isn't the Olympics, but still.
I agree.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you guys think about Kyle Anderson tonight? I thought he looked good defensively. It wasn't his best game, but I thought he was fine.
Yeah, he looked fine. Yeah.
I think I'd like to see him play more. I don't know if obviously he started because Draymond was out. I think you kind of got to go. I think honestly, I'd like to see more of Steph and Draymond sitting. Even I know you mentioned this in the video today, Dan, about maybe you come up with some type of fake injury or something, or do the Wiggins thing for Steph where he's on a sabbatical or whatever it is. Because I think in some way you got to definitely. I think if we can keep our young guys confident, and if we can just have one of Steph and Draymond in, and we saw earlier in the year when Steph missed a lot of games, we were winning games without Steph. I think it's fine. I don't think you need to play both of them every day. I actually think that's worse. And we were on a huge losing streak when we were playing both of them. I almost think it's better maybe some games. No, it seems weird because they're always together, but maybe split them up where it's, you have Draymond play one game. Don't play not all the time, not like a platoon, but you don't have to sit them out because that's what they used to do is they would sit Wiggins, Draymond, and Steph all the same game, and you're basically giving up that game at that point. But you don't really need to do that. Why don't you just sit one like we did today? And we did earlier. Steph was hurt, but when you were sitting Steph, we can win games without both of them. I actually think they look better that way because you don't have two guys on the court who look gassed, because that's how it looks sometimes when they've overplayed them. And we talked about that, Lou. Remember, what was it, the Spurs game where you and I were like, they shouldn't have even played Steph because it was like a back-to-back, or I don't know if it was the Spurs, but it was one of those games, when we started going on the skid. And I think from, now we've already had a third of the way through the season. I hope that, they kind of stick with this like Kurt did today. We got to have either a different minute distribution, or you got to start just resting these guys because they're too old to be playing all these minutes. They really are.
You know what I would like to see? Honestly, I would like to see Steph rest Monday night because it's a trip back home.
And you can beat the Pacers without Steph.
Yeah. You just had 2 games, in Tennessee and now tonight in Minnesota. It's a long trip. Give them it's tough to play the young guys, let them get their energy out. And Wednesday, you got the Lakers on Christmas Day, and that game is a 6:00 game, 5:00 California, 6:00 in Arizona. So 5 p.m. You don't want to have to play Steph against Indiana. Give them the night off, and Draymond should be ready to go back in there. And the other thing, what's going on with Moody? How long is he out for?
He should have been playing today. They said he was ready to go earlier in the game, and then they scratched him late. So I don't think he's out much longer. He should be ready to go against the Pacers. They said he was going to be good today, and then he got scratched all of a sudden.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you too, Mario.
Merry Christmas. Fuck you. That's funny.
This is the season, Mario. Okay. What else we got? I mean,
not much. Let's just pull up the next couple games. Oh, and then we can kind of.
Hey guys, can I say one thing before we forget?
Go ahead, of course.
Especially with the Warriors originally playing in Oakland. Just a little shout out to probably one of the greatest leadoff hitters of all time, passed away today. And of course, Oakland native Ricky Henderson. Even though I wasn't an A's fan, he was someone that you would watch. He was phenomenal. I love his favorite phrase when he did break Lou Brock's record when he said, "Today I am the greatest." The guy was confident, but he was one of those guys that could back it up. since he was local, I just wanted to bring that up to the chat and everybody on there. And I know, Dan, you did a real nice piece on him, so I just wanted to bring that up.
What happened to Dan?
I was just showing Ricky in the background.
Oh, yeah.
So Ricky Henderson. Yep. We check out the video today. I did a short little 6.5 minute video. Ricky was unbelievable. And just, out of Oakland Tech. I mean, how many great all-timers have come out of Oakland? You got Bill Russell. You got Frank Robinson. You got there's another great one. Who else? There's you know who they are.
Ricky isn't Gary Payton the old man originally from
Gary Payton. Yep.
Gary Payton. I mean the
glove.
The glove. Yeah.
But there's another all-timer
Brian
besides
Shaw.
Robinson.
I mean,
there's someone.
yeah.
Another
Somebody we're
all-timer.
overlooking.
I bet you Mark Graves remembers. It's I'm trying to think of the all-timer. Joe Morgan.
Joe Morgan, yeah. The great MC Hammer. Tom Hanks. I'm just, no, but I mean, he was, it's sort of funny because when you're a Giants fan like myself, you don't really acknowledge how great some of the athletes that played for Oakland. And, I saw a highlight the other day where, I forgot that he played for the Yankees. He played for Toronto, just like, Stewart. But with the A's, he was the man leading off. I mean, he did everything. So it's something that, I wish we would have right now. But, hey, he was young. I think he was only, he died, unfortunately.
60, he was going to be 66.
On
Christmas Day.
So,
hey, how about Dame Lillard's from Oakland?
Yep.
Paul Pierce.
Marshawn Lynch.
Paul Pierce. Yeah. Marshawn.
Did you say Marshawn?
Yeah.
Sorry, we did not bring up Mr. Skittles. Dan should have, since he did go to Cal Berkeley, but Ryan, good pickup. Good call. Mr. Skittles.
There's another baseball player I'm missing. I know it was
Reggie
Frank
Jackson?
Robinson. No, Reggie's not from Oakland. Joe Morgan, Frank Robinson, Willie Stargell.
Oh, the
Willie
Pop?
Stargell.
I don't even know who that is.
Pops is from Oakland.
Pops? We are
He went
family.
1977.
Pittsburgh Pirates.
Dennis Eckersley went to Washington Union. Joe Morgan went to Castlemont. Ricky Henderson went to Oak Tech. Frank Robinson went to McClimate's. Bill Russell. Where did Bill Russell go? Didn't he go to McClimate's too? I think him and Howard. I think. Marcus Peters, the DB.
Oh, Gary Payton.
Yeah, I said the old man.
Oh, you did? You said Gary Payton?
Yeah. Jason
Kidd's from Oakland too.
Yeah, Jason Kidd. There's another great.
Did you say Jason Kidd?
No, we didn't.
We did not.
Jason Kidd's from Oakland. I'm trying to think. There's another few NBA players that are from Oakland.
Yeah, it did say, it said Reggie Jackson.
Did you say Brian Shaw?
Reggie Jackson is from Oakland?
Yeah.
I told you. See, right. I looked up.
Darren Lewis, former Giant.
Yeah.
I just looked up the list. Do you know who Brian Shaw is? He's also from Oakland.
Of course.
He played with the Lakers. And
went to Mater Dei.
Three-time champ.
He went to Santa Barbara, didn't he? Brian Shaw?
Yeah.
UC Santa Barbara. A gaucho. A gaucho.
Jimmy Rollins.
Joe Ellis. Hey, we got to do a show on that.
Top 5 all-time players from Oakland. There's a list actually on MLB.com.
Dave Stewart.
Yeah, that one has, I believe it has Ricky.
Frank Robinson, Joe Morgan, Dennis Eckersley.
Eckersley. Oh, Dontre Willis.
Willie Stargell.
Yeah.
Active players from Oakland. Marcus Semien from Oakland. No way.
That's right. Marcus Semien went to Cal.
Yeah, it says Oakland. Also Tyron Ross.
Oakland, way more better athletes from Oakland than San Francisco.
Wait, Crawford's from Oakland? This can't be true.
Who?
Oh my God, Crawford's from that's hella funny. He's from Mountain View.
Who's that?
Brandon Crawford.
Born in born in Mountain View, and then
he's from the Oakland area, it says.
grew up in Pleasanton, Foothill High
Pleasanton,
School.
yeah, Foothill.
that
Don't you
Oakland
remember the
County?
photo when the Giants were leaving? He was in the Chronicle like this,
Right.
all bummed out, probably sitting in my seats. Where that
Yeah, that's
photo was
right.
taken.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, we should. We'll have to make a list of that sometime. That'll be a good video.
We'll do an
really
all-timer.
good video.
Yeah. I mean, you're probably your greatest
We
all-time
should do
athletes.
best. No, we should do
come from
best
New York
sports
City,
players
I would
out of the
imagine.
Bay Area. You know what we should do, Dan? Best sports players out of the Bay Area, because you got Jared Goff. You got a lot of good players from the city and Marin too.
Yeah, and don't forget, I graduated in '80.
You're not on the list, but you got. I mean, Jared Goff could be on the list. If he wins and you got who else from the city? Stephen Kwon. He's a stud. I don't know if he'd be on my top list, but he's a stud.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm trying to think of some other players.
O.J. Simpson's probably one of the most famous from San Francisco.
Yep.
Galileo.
Yep. There's a lot. The Bay Area has had some really.
Yeah,
really
we'll have to come up with a
good
show.
players.
Just so the
That was,
Bay
a
Area-
hard, that was a tough fall, man. O.J. The guy had it all.
Oh, isn't Barry from the Bay?
Sierra.
he went to San Mateo.
Yeah, San Mateo. Little.
It says
little
Barry
just a little
Bonds.
south.
Barry Bonds. Really?
Where
Barry Bonds-
Sarah's
it says
really, he's really
Yeah, it
the
says
only
San
athlete.
Mateo.
Yeah,
He's
the
from
only
Riverside.
athlete to come
Daddy's
out
from
of
Riverside.
Oh,
Sarah.
do you know who we're forgetting? The GOAT.
Not the GOAT. Come on, you can't get any sport right. First of all, Tom Brady's not the GOAT. Let's remember that. But Tom Brady went to
Tom's
Sarah.
from the Bay too.
He went to Sarah. Yeah.
Bonds went to Sarah. A guy named Lynn Swan.
You
Ryan,
know
who
who's
you probably
also
don't
from the
even know.
Bay?
Do you even know who Lynn Swan
Joe
is?
DiMaggio.
Well, yeah.
Joe DiMaggio's from San Francisco. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Martinez,
Swan-
actually, he's from Martinez,
Yeah.
where my family was born. My mom and my dad all born in Martinez, California. That's where Joe DiMaggio's from. And you know who else grew up in? You know who else played in? Grew up in Martinez? Was the Van? Why am I drawing a blank? The Van Gundys. Both Stan
Who's the
and
best Bay Area born athlete? Bill M has Ricky, our one of our.
Boy,
chat
that's pretty
members,
tough.
Bill M.
You know, Bonds is pretty up there. You know, Brady's pretty up there. I mean, just at
I think it's
Sarah,
Brady.
they had a guy named Scott Jeffries who played for the Mets right out of high school, played in the playoffs. They had a guy named
Joe
Bob
Morgan
Horner.
was a great athlete, but I mean,
Bob Horner, Lynn Swan, all went to Sarah. They're all on their wall of
Bob
fame.
Horner too.
Yeah.
The Braves, Bob Horner, that Bob Horner?
Yeah.
He
Straight
went
out of
to
high
Sarah?
school.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And then, like I said, Lynn Swan. I mean, at one time in the Bay Area, you had Lynn Swan was at Sarah, and then in the WCL, and then Dan Pastorini was at Bellarmine. Dan Fouts was at SI.
That froze.
And then 2 years before that was O.J. Simpson at Galileo.
That's right. Najee
all
Harris.
there.
Najee Harris out in Antioch.
Yeah.
Oh, Brock Bowers. Yep, he's a stud.
Yep. Bonds was born in Riverside, California.
Brock Bowers,
Bobby
he's a
Senior.
young guy, but this is going to be someone on the list, I think. Have you seen Brock Bowers play yet, Dan?
They now say he
the
might.
kid from Georgia?
He's going to be rookie of the year.
He's
They
not from
say.
Georgia. He's from the Bay.
No, he played
No,
college.
but he played.
At Georgia.
Oh, you're
at
talking about for
Georgia.
college. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom is saying he's another person from the Bay who's a good, and he's right.
Yeah,
That's a
so
great
we'll
sports player.
we'll do that. One of the nights where it's slow, maybe during the baseball season, we'll come up with regions.
Yeah, we'll have to have a reason to do post game shows this year.
Yeah.
No, we'll come up with
So-
that maybe next week. It'll be slow, not maybe probably.
Yeah, be a little
not too many
slow.
signings.
Yeah.
yeah. Let's
Oh,
do that
Lou?
next week sometime.
Yes,
maybe after
sir.
Christmas.
I got an assignment for you. We
Yes,
will
sir.
We'll do a little show. We'll do a little video. Maybe we'll do it for we'll talk in the green room. We don't want to give any of our ideas out there.
All right.
So-
And then, hey, one thing, Dan, I know I'm speaking for the chat, and I don't know but I wanted to commend both you guys, Ryan and Dan. Great job with Marty Lurie. I know, Ryan, you were on 2 different networks. Dan and Marty were, simulcasting on both. Ryan, I knew you were in charge of both, so great job. Except for the little problem with Marty with the CB, where we heard the police reports why he was talking. But I thought overall that good hour and 10 minutes. The chat loved it. I loved being on the outside because if I would have been on the inside, I probably would have had to mute the whole time on some of the stuff. But I thought it was very, very well done. Both you guys commend a golf clap.
Well, thanks.
Doing a great job.
Hey, tomorrow, guys, while we head out of here, tomorrow we've got 49er football, Miami Dolphins. We should have, what time's that game? Is that the 11 o'clock game?
Yes,
well, what's
it's
your
an
game
early
prediction for the Warriors
Or
game? And then
10 o'clock. Prediction for the next Warrior game?
Yeah, let's do that, and then we'll tell
Okay.
people about the Niners game. We'll get out of here.
Okay, they're playing Indiana. Hold on, let me take a quick peek.
It's at home. I got the Warriors beating Indy. After
I'm going to give you a score here. For 1 second.
I got the Warriors beating Indy by 10 plus. I think, I think honestly, I'd like to see Draymond sit out again. I think that'd be good. And I don't think you need Steph or Draymond in that game. I honestly would not be scared to sit both of them. I think Indy's not a good team this year. I think Tyrese Halliburton, Dennis Schroeder could do a number on him, in my opinion. I think he could lock him up. And I think it would be good to just – and if you lose that game with Steph and Draymond out, it's not really the end of the world. And it kind of – or if you play Draymond –
you got to start stacking up wins that are winnable games, though, Ryan. You can't let games that you should win escape you at home.
Yeah, I just think you can sit one of them. I don't think you need to play both of them. I think they've looked better. I think they've looked better separated this year. I'd have to check their numbers together, but they're 2-1 without Draymond, and I know they're 3-1 without Steph. So,
all right, I got the Warriors
it's about
winning.
a third of their wins when one of them is out.
I got the Warriors winning 118 to 113.
Yeah, Griffin says sit Draymond. This is what I was kind of saying, Griffin too. Sit Draymond, get him amped up for. I think that's a good plan.
Yeah, not too amped up so he doesn't get tossed in the first quarter. Lou, what do you got? Monday night?
I know Ryan's upset, so am I, because the great James Wiseman, who of course the Warriors wasted 3 years picking that bum, was signed this year by Indy, but he only lasted 2 quarters, and he's out the whole season. Yeah. But I will say one thing about Indy is they're 5-1 in their last 6 games, but they're finally healthy. So the one thing about Indy is you're going to have to play great defense like they did tonight, and you're going to have to hit shots, because the way Indy wins, it's first to 125. And as we know recently, they have not been scoring that much. So it should be a fun game. The one thing the Warriors do get the benefit is they play Sacramento tomorrow. So it's going to be back-to-back for Indy. So that's an advantage for the Warriors, and they got to take advantage of it.
Well, the one guy that seems to have done well against them is Andrew Nembhard. He's always plays above his pay grade against the Warriors. So we'll see. Is Siakam playing? Is he healthy?
Yeah, he should be in.
He's a beast.
Yeah, Siakam's a beast. I think Kuminga, this will be a good game to see how Kuminga looks too, because Siakam's like who people say Kuminga should be if Kuminga pans out. So I'd like to see them because, Siakam's a little bigger than Kuminga. So let's see how, I want to see how Kuminga and Wiggins
I think I think the biggest advantage that the Warriors have going into this game is that the Pacers have 2 guys from Arizona on their roster. Benedict Mathurin and TJ McConnell.
The Warriors wish they had Benedict Mathurin.
Benedict Mathurin's a dog.
No, I know. I'm just dogging Lou because he's a U of A alum.
No, I know. Benedict's
I
great.
agree.
Benedict's great.
How many do we have? Just one, Kerr?
The problem with him, he's like Wiggins. He's a Canadian, so nobody really cares.
Yeah. All right. So who do you got winning this game, Lou? Warriors or Pacers?
I have the Warriors, but it's going to be a very high scoring game. I think 118, 115. And the Warriors
I got 119, 113.
Yeah, they got to make sure they got to make their 10 turnovers or less, because Indy's a type of game where you do 18 turnovers, you're going to get blown out.
Yeah, they run too. That's why.
Oh, Indy. Niners is a late game, huh? 225 here, so that must be 125 in California.
It's a late one. And Miami doesn't even have a wide receiver. I guess both are going to be out.
Guess who I'm rooting for tomorrow? The 49ers. I need them to beat the Dolphins because the Broncos.
Yeah, you guys should have never lost on Thursday. You had the lead.
I
You
was
had bad coaching.
It's bad
it
now.
happened.
We just need the Bengals and the Dolphins to lose one game. So
hey, since we're
come on,
doing
49ers, let's do this.
Since we got a little bit of potpourri moving around here, baseball, basketball, football, let me just throw this in. That timeout by Jim Harbaugh with 8 seconds to go in the first half, forcing the punt, which caused the interference with the punt returner and the free kick. We would have never seen that if Kyle Shanahan was coaching the Chargers, because he would have not called timeout with 8 seconds. He would have said, the game, let's get into the halftime and we'll regroup down 21-10. That's the difference between a conservative coach versus a go-getter. And there's a few coaches that would have called timeout. One of them you saw was Harbaugh. The other one was on the other sideline, was Peyton. And you would have probably seen Andy Reid maybe take a shot, because look, anything can happen. And we saw it happen. We saw history. What was that? The first free kick in almost 50 years?
Well, it was the first one that was made. Harbaugh has tried that before on the Niners.
I love the free kick. I've been wanting to see it for years, and you rarely get a chance to see it.
He did it on the Niners. He just didn't make it.
Yeah. Oh, Mario
Harbaugh's a great coach. I think Harbaugh, Sean Payton are in my opinion, two of the top 5 coaches in the NFL. So
music to my ears. Mario Titanic got ripped by Cy just now on the Krug show. I'm gonna have to go check that out.
And we'll check that out after the show. Let's get to Bill's super chat. Always appreciate you, Bill. Did you guys like the distribution of minutes tonight? I'll go first. Bill, I liked Steph's distribution of minutes. He kind of talked about it after
34, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of minutes, but I like the distribution of it. They put him in at 7, and it was a little more than 7 minutes in the game in the fourth. And then in the third, I liked it. He mentioned that it actually wasn't even supposed to go that way because Schroeder got, I guess, in a little bit of foul trouble. But he said maybe we should keep. Right? He started laughing. He said maybe we should keep doing this though because it worked well. And I think, Bill, what I'll say is we need to come to a consistency with this minutes distribution. I think you're seeing a lot of guys, including Steph. They need to get in the flow of things and where they know what their role is, how many minutes they can obviously it's not going to be a science, not going to be, the exact, but like, okay, you're going to play 10 to 20 minutes. You're playing 20 to 30 minutes. You're playing 5 to 10 minutes, right? Whereas like right now it's very jumbled up. Even some games, Steph's only playing 28 minutes when we're winning, which is good. But if your number one guy on the team doesn't even know how many minutes he's going to get or when his minute distribution is going to be, how does everyone else know what their role is? They don't.
I'm just looking at the box score again. I'm just shocked. This game today is crazy. 16 3-point attempts for Curry. I mean, a few years ago, Klay Thompson averaged like 18 shots a game and like now you're shooting 16 attempts from 3. I mean, I get it. He was 7 of 16 tonight. So that's equivalent. What is that? Was he 7 of 16? So that's 21 points in 16 shots. So that's equivalent to 50%, 10 of a little over 50%. So it's like making 10 twos plus 1. I don't know. I'm a little.
I mean, honestly, for Steph, that's not like too high though. I mean, the last couple of years,
I know it's just the whole team.
Yeah,
the whole game now.
12. I'm looking at it right now. Last year, he averaged 12 last season. That's not even.
What did he average in his MVP seasons? In his MVP seasons, didn't he only average like 6, 7 attempts?
No,
because he had help.
11.2 and 8.1.
8.1 in his
11. Yeah, but that was his first year. He only averaged 23.8. So ever since Steph has been averaging like a lot of points, he's been shooting about 12 threes a game.
I just don't like 12. I mean, I'm okay with Steph shooting it because it's just too much in the game today. It's just, I mean, tonight the Warriors attempted 42 and Minnesota attempted 38. So what is that? 80? 80 free three. I mean, 80 shots from, and it's just like, wow. And I don't know what you're going to do, but the game is not.
Yeah. And Bill says,
it's not going to last. The game's not going to be sustainable with Steph gone when he leaves the game. If you keep having a bunch of guys just throwing up 80 to 93s a game.
Oh, well, yeah, it's gross. I mean, the problem is too, and a lot of people, Alchemy's talked about this, and a few other guys I really respect in the NBA world. But basically, I think the main issue is it was fine when you had a lot of guards shooting threes and these long shots. But the problem is, and Lou probably knows what I mean. Like, what I think's really messed up the game is now every 7-footer has to be able, almost every 7-footer has to be able to take and make a three. Like, look at Naz Reid. This dude's 7, and he's great at shooting threes. And then even Nikola Jokic shooting for over 40% for three. That's kind of where I think the game is. I don't mind guards taking these. I think, and for me growing up, it's always been like that. But what's even for me growing up, you didn't even in 2015, you didn't have it where every center on the roster needed to be able to take an outside shot. If you can't make a three nowadays, you're never going to be more than a bench player. And I think that's where the game's gone too far. I think it's good to have skilled guards because I think it adds more element to the game. But the problem is you had these analytical nerds who told everyone they all have to take threes. And now you've gone too far away from it. You don't need to have these guys who are 7'2". If there's a driving lane to the key, they should take the dunk because that actually is going to get you more points than you missing a three because you're not a 3-point shooter.
I know I am blown away at, Lou and I grew up during Showtime. I shouldn't say grew up, but we were in our prime when we were watching, Showtime Lakers of the 80s and the Celtics watching Magic, get a rebound and go down the middle, and Worthy and whoever it was, Rambis, or it was Kareem on the
Cooper,
Rambis. 3-on-2. Nobody went to the corners and took a three. They took the sure 2 points every
3-on-2. The layup.
Look at you got a basically about a 98% chance of scoring 2, and you'll kick it out to the corner for a 45% chance at a 3. It just doesn't make sense to me. I get it if you're behind and you need to make up points in a hurry, but when you're just giving up points, that's why the Warriors let the Timberwolves back in the game tonight, because they started shooting all the threes in the second quarter. If you just kept doing what you did in the first quarter and was getting to the hoop, to the rack, I mean, my goodness, I sometimes the analytics over the eye test of just playing the game, it's like, I don't know.
And tonight when Minnesota didn't score for 6 minutes,
that's great, Bill.
we took 7 3-pointers, 1 layup, and then one time we got fouled and we hit 1 of 2 free throws.
Yeah, in
6 minutes. We didn't shoot another basic 2, and the other team wasn't scoring. So that's why I got to take advantage when the other team's cold. Try to easy hoops. They all add up quick, but they won, so that's all that matters.
To me, that's an issue with coaching. You can't let all your players shoot threes, but coaches want to go to threes.
No, they want to. Joe Mazzulla is like,
Joe Mazzulla wants 50 plus. Yeah, he wants 50 plus shots a game.
Stop listening to Farhan. He's a loser. Stop listening to Farhan. He's a loser. Okay, forget the analytics. Let's just play basketball.
For real.
Kerr has taken on the approach that the 3-point game is more valuable than what he used to do.
Kerr, even though what's funny though, and people have talked about the Warriors. Even the Warriors, though, have a game outside of the 3-point shot. You have players, and you always have, who have never taken threes really on the Warriors. Draymond, some years he can be hot from 3, but I'd say 80% of his career he's been a non-threat. You've had Looney on your team. I think that with the problem with the Warriors, they actually do have a variety to their game. It's just we had the 2 best 3-point shooters ever, so everyone kind of associates that with us. But if you actually think about the Warriors, we actually have always had levels to our offense, except maybe this year. Because, before you had guys like Otto Porter and Sean Livingston, and I can keep going through all these mid-range guys we had who were mid-range. Wiggins isn't a 3-point shooter either. He's and Kuminga. You'd call them, they can hit a 3, but I'd call them slashers, wings. They're not. So I think the Warriors, they're very 3-point hungry, but they're definitely not telling guys like TJD to take threes. Like, I've never seen TJD take a 3.
Bozo takes too many threes.
Bozo,
and you bring up Green this year. Green's averaging like 5 or 6. This is Green.
No, I said this year's
no.
Like they're doing it because our talent. I'm saying what's funny though is now we're doing that, but the good Warriors teams had a variety to their offense.
Yeah, they didn't need to. I got it.
Yeah, exactly. Now I think Dan's totally right. The whole league is like a copy, and I think that's why the ratings are so down. It's like all the teams are just doing the same thing.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, even if you watch an NFL game, it's different, or an MLB game. And I think and then we can get out of here. I think someone made a good point. I forget who it was, but they were basically saying that the MLB, ratings went really down for a couple of years because there was all these super hyper analytical approaches. Like you could switch a pitcher right away. And then they, I remember that. Now they got to do 3 batters now, and they did all this stuff because basically the MLB went too far. And I think the NBA, and you guys have talked about it, need to do something similar where they make a few rule changes here. And even though people are going to be pissed about it, I think over time, as we've seen with the MLB, the ratings will increase and come back to.
Have you heard the new rules for the All-Star game this year at Chase?
Yeah, that's crap. That's crap.
They're going to have 4 8-man teams, and they're going to play to 40, and whoever gets to 40 and it's running time or something like that. Something crazy.
Yep, Bill.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Yep. Just like the Emerald Cup. Did you see the ratings on that?
No, I didn't watch. So I'm sure they were down because I watch a lot of things.
They were 3rd of all sporting events at the time.
Wow. Well, guys, let's get out of here. We got tomorrow. We got a little bit of 2 shows going. We'll come on probably around, I don't know if the local game, if the game's for me, if I'll see it on the network show or not. So we'll decide tomorrow. We may do a 4th quarter in-game live if I'm getting the game without too much delay. If I'm getting it on, Mark, do you know what, is it local? Are we going to get it local TV, or are we getting the Cardinals? What's going on tomorrow afternoon? Maybe you can let me know that. Then we can figure out, let's see, we got 49ers. So it would be somewhere around 4:30, right around 4:30.
Yeah.
We come on. Now, we may come on a little early if the game is, if I'm getting it on live TV. 49ers game, what am I reading, Mark? 49ers game is on regular TV. Okay. So we probably will do a in-game live starting around the 4th quarter. That way we can carry it over, because I will then go on Larry's show, which will start pretty quickly because it's a away game and he's not going to be in the locker room. So home games, the Krug show always starts about 90 minutes after the game. Away games, it's within like 15 minutes. So let's do an in-game live tomorrow, right about the start of the 4th quarter. That'll give us, 30, 45-minute show probably. And then we'll do that. And then tomorrow night, we will come on at our regular time, 7:45. 7:45 tomorrow night. We'll have some Giants or some kind of baseball talk, some big signings today, all ones the Giants are missing out on. We'll talk about that tomorrow night. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you, Lou and I, tomorrow night. Maybe someone else will be with us. Maybe Los tomorrow during the football game. We'll see. But have a great Sunday. We'll catch you tomorrow.